Hey everyone, episode 100, part 2. That's 2 for those paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
For our 100th episode, we decided to get some pretty special bottles that you can't find on the everyday shelf.
And he kept it all from me.
Kept it all from him.
I have no idea what he's doing.
You gotta stay tuned to find out. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 100th episode, part 2 of the Savor the Bourbon podcast. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Make sure you click subscribe, like, leave us a comment.
Ding, ding, ding.
You can find us anywhere on all of the streaming platforms, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And what else? Oh, yeah, Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. All the things.
If you're a Spotify fan and you love Spotify, you listen to Spotify, you may not know, but Spotify supports video. So
they do.
What we do over on YouTube, you have it available right there on Spotify.
Yep. And what YouTube does not have is a cool option is you can leave us a voice message on Spotify. We had Carlo do that to us way early in the early days of the podcast. And we had a lot of fun with good times had by all. So thank you one more again for joining us on this 100.2 2 of 3 episode of the Savor the Bourbon podcast. There's a lot to say there. My name is Jonathan. This is W2. How do you do?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm doing all right. I just had a fine pour of a Shanks.
That was pretty phenomenal.
Homestead 91.2.
90.2. 91.2.
91.2 proof. Rye forward. Lots of oak, lots of rye. Very, very tasty. But today we have another mystery bottle.
We do.
He keeps it a secret. I'm just happy to be here.
So 100th episode, I wanted to pick some special bottles that were not bottles you could just run down to your corner liquor store and pick up.
Are you talking like tater bait bottles?
Just in general.
Just in general, okay. Perfect.
Hard to find those special bottles that are cream of the crop. but in thinking about, well, what would be some of the bottles that I would like to do for this, I also felt it kind of important, and it made sense to try to capture some of the big brands that we love. Our first bottle we started out with, it was Shanks Homestead. Yeah. But that is a Michter's annual release, paying homage to where they were founded.
Yeah,
from.
And you said that was back in Pennsylvania? Up in Pennsylvania?
Shanks started in Pennsylvania, and then they, at some point, Bauminger moved to Louisville, and then...
In like 1750-something, 3?
1753 is when Shanks was founded, and then that became Bauminger's, and then that became Michter's.
So much has happened in this country since that guy, since old Shank was up there tinkering around in his little garage, making himself some fire water.
So, the next bottle up comes to us from Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace, okay, okay.
We've had quite a few Buffalo Traces.
We have.
What are some of your most memorable Buffalo Trace offerings?
Well, all right. Okay, so there was the Weller 107.
That's
the Weller Special Reserve.
That's hard to compete with.
Right, dude. That 107. Stupid good. The Weller Special Reserve, which is a fine bottle. It really is.
That's the original wheated bourbon.
Excellent. Blanton's, of course. Buffalo Trace and Buffalo Trace single barrel. Sure. We had one of those from a liquor store that your sister got a hold of
in Georgia.
And who am I missing?
Don't forget Stag.
Oh yeah, Stag. They call it Stag Junior, but it's just Stag now because he turned 21.
It turned 21, so it's not. Yeah, they dropped the Junior.
Yeah.
Eagle Rare is also Buffalo Trace.
Eagle Rare and is there a Taylor? What's the Taylor one?
The E.H. Taylor.
E.H. Taylor. Here we go.
And Sazerac Rye.
Fuck yeah, Sazerac Rye.
There's a lot.
First time I had Sazerac Rye was at the Kirby's out in Wichita, where Jeff said on multiple occasions, "This is the smallest stage I've ever played on." Like, hey, don't say that out loud, too loud, because we don't want to piss them off. Like, but how fun was that show?
And we have not had it, but let's not forget, Pappy's is also a Buffalo Trace product.
Yeah, okay. So Pappy's, we have not had Pappy's. We haven't had Buffalo Trace Gold. Well, not Buffalo Trace Gold. Blanton's Gold. Blanton's
straight from the barrel.
The only Blantons that we've had, that I've had, is the OG, the original, the regular, where these light up bottles came from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you've already mentioned the brand of what we're about to try.
Okay.
So today we are going to get into
Weller. Oh shit! That's the black. Wow. Okay.
That's
in a box.
That's why I didn't tell you what this was.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't have needed to drive over here. I would have just floated right over here. Black and gold lettering. It's got the classic Weller shape to it. Mm-hmm. Metal lid.
It cracks me up that it is a crack lid there, but
the original wheated bourbon, aged 12 years. So does that mean that this is the green label, only aged 12 years?
It's that mash bill. It's a little bit more than just the 12-year age. You pour, I read.
Yeah.
Like the Special Reserve, this is, and Buffalo Trace, this is 90 proof.
It is, isn't it? It is, yeah.
This is also labeled as the original wheated bourbon.
Hold for crack. It smells like bourbon.
So this is the W.L. Weller 12-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
It smells so good.
It's a bourbon distilled by Buffalo Trace, aged 12 years, 90 proof. A rich and sweet wheated bourbon at an exceptional value with specs to die for. The name Weller has been around the horn a few times. It all started with the Stetzel Weller Distilling Company, founded in 1935 and closed in 1972 during the famous whiskey recession. They had a bunch of great brands when they closed, and the formulas and brands were sold off. Today, the W.L. Weller brand is owned by Sazerac out of New Orleans, and the bourbons are distilled at their famous Buffalo Trace distillery, along with a wide array of Sazerac products. How would you like to get your hands on a bourbon with the same mash bill and aging profile as Pappy Van Winkle Lot B? Well, W.L. Weller 12-year-old Kentucky Straight wheated bourbon is that dram. Now, there are other differences, of course. We're not saying that this 12-year-old Weller at 45% ABV is as good as Pappy. What we are saying is that this fine bourbon is really good, an exceptional value, and you can get your hands on a bottle. Questionable. And you should. Think of it as a poor man's Pappy. Now, going a step farther than that, the reason why so much talk of Pappy is it is said that when they select barrels and dump them for the Pappy Van Winkle Lot B offering, the ones that they feel aren't quite up to par to be Pappy become this.
Wow, okay. So it's the same juice.
It's the exact same juice, exact same barrel allotments. It's just the barrels that don't make the final grade to be a Pappy Van Winkle.
This nose is incredible. So we had heard ever since getting into Weller Antique 107, ever since getting into this bottle, we had heard that this is the best of the Weller lineup. And I just, I always figured, well, I'll just take their word for it, because there ain't no way I'm ever going to get a bottle. But,
well, this is at 90 proof, so it's proof down a little bit more than the Antique 107.
It is. But you can't call it Antique 107 if it's 90 proof. It's 107 proof.
It's also 12 year.
It's 12 year, and
it's got color to show.
It's beautiful. There's oak, orange zest.
Yep.
I think. All right. So, do you remember like those little scented markers, like stamps, like the purple ink that would smell like grape?
Oh yeah, awful grape. Yeah, artificial grape.
It's like the artificial grape stamp ink, whatever scent on here. And I mean that in all the most wonderful ways. I really do. No, I wasn't eating crayons.
I was getting ready to side eye you on that one.
I was sniffing the grape ink.
Accidentally touching it to your nose, and then you smell that all day long.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I put down grape. You can leave that off of the website if you want. You don't have to. But, yeah, caramel, vanilla, orange zest, oak. There's some other stuff going on here.
I'd say a light baking spice. Nutmeg, clover, cinnamon. The notes I have here say the aromas are remarkable and rich, delivering notes of cinnamon, vanilla, caramel, butterscotch, and wood.
I was like, wool? What the?
Wool.
What the what?
And wood.
Wood. Okay.
We go.
So, yeah, I did write down... Well, I'll just write it under here. I did write down butterscotch. Butterscotch is a good one.
I am so ready to get this on the palate.
Yeah, let's do it, because we got some great stuff going on here on the nose.
Oh, let's try that again.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Wow. Oh, wow.
That's...
Man, all right. So this... Fuck. Okay, so this is a case in point why... You can't listen to anybody else's ideas or reviews or whatever the hell it is that anybody else has to say about anything. You have to experience it for yourself. Otherwise, you're never really going to know. You can get the whole sour grapes thing. You know, like, well, I guess I'll just leave that. I'll never get it. Those grapes are probably sour anyway. You know, Aesop's fable. You probably know it. If you don't, fucking learn. Read some. Get yourself a book, Aesop's fables. But anyway, you have to try things for yourself. And what a wonderful time it is in the history of planet Earth that we live in. Out of the 4.6 billion years that this blue blaze has been spinning around the sun, here we are enjoying this this Weller 12 year. This is something. This is something. I'd have to do a side-by-side with a fresh crack bottle of the Antique 107 to really get an idea as to which one's better. But the way we do things around here at Savor the Burn Studios is we don't compare. It's unfair to compare. Not to compare. We really do try hard not to. And unless we're doing a side-by-side, we're like, yeah, this one had this, that one had that, this one didn't have it. I kind of like this one better. Mm-hmm. All that to say, this is... wonderful on nose, wonderful on palate, and it goes through different.
And the finish.
In the finish, also, we haven't talked about the flavors that we picked up on palate or finish yet, but this has the. This has multiple characteristics going on here. It's like living several different lives over the course of palate through finish. It's wild. It's like the palate changes.
It's got some thickness to it. Mm-hmm. That wheat comes full forward. You have a lot of wheat on this, which I think helps soften and just makes everything super creamy.
Is there rye in this mash bill? I feel like there is, but I don't know.
I do not know for sure.
Mash bill. Oh. Nope. Where does it start here? W.L. Weller developed his original bourbon recipe with wheat rather than rye in the mash bill.
So there's probably a little bit of barley. So you'll have corn, wheat, and barley. Okay. But this is going to have a healthy dose of wheat. It's a bourbon, so it's still going to have 51+% corn.
Vanilla. I think that butterscotch kind of carries through. Mm-hmm. And like creamy vanilla. Mm-hmm. I should have written down. So Well, it says vanilla.
Did you put butterscotch down?
I did.
Okay. Yeah.
It says vanilla dash creamy, but it should be creamy vanilla. So try to remember that.
I like it.
Let's see. Yeah, wheat and oak, corn and barley, vanilla, a creamy vanilla, butterscotch. It doesn't. So we talked about it being 90 proof. It doesn't really hit like a 90 proof. It hits smooth and delightful. Mm-hmm. Does butterscotch carry through to the finish on you?
For me, it does. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Let's back up just a little bit. Citrus notes on palate. Are you picking up any citrus notes on palate?
I'd say an orange zest.
So the orange zest carries through. Butterscotch carries through that. All right. So back to finish.
And finish. I'd say butterscotch carries through, but for me, it actually turns to creme brulee, and that orange zest carries on through with it. Yeah,
baking spices kind of come up to, they come back into the experience.
This is delicious, period.
Yes, this is a great, this is a dessert whiskey. I mean, 90 proof. I mean, can you imagine this in a cocktail? I mean,
no.
We're talking, right, because it's so damn hard to fucking get. So you get, if we had 10 bottles of these, how would you suggest serving it? Neat, of course.
Of course.
Just in one of these little Glencairn glasses. And really, I've been wanting to hit up our listeners, our viewers, and find out what it is that they're using to taste their whiskey in. Are they using a rocks glass? Are they using these Glencairns? Are they using those tuliped, kind of a heavy bottom tulip shaped one? Like we tried, but we just, I don't know. It didn't have this. It didn't have that. You know, this is thin walled.
That's special.
It's very special. Like this podcast would not be the same without it. Whatever it is that you're tasting your whiskey with, let us know. Leave us a comment. Send us an email. Info w2jonathan@savortheburn.com. I really
subscribe.
I really do want to know. Send us links to like your suggestions because we'll try it out. You know, if we haven't already, we will try it out. But anyway, back to it. Baking spices, creme brulee, orange zest. What else are you picking up on it? What do the notes say on the finish?
On finish, it says...
Have you read the tasting notes on this one yet?
I've read the nose tasting notes.
Okay.
So I'm going to read the palate. It says, the flavors come in distinct waves in notes of spice cake, leather, mint, vanilla, and exotic fruits.
Exotic fruits. The fuck does that mean? Dragon fruit?
Fig. Dragon fruit. Passion fruit.
Fig's exotic? All right.
I don't know.
I get hung up on words. I argue with myself.
I mean,
not just everybody.
Not fig Newtons, but
not
actual,
fig Newtons, but actual
figs.
There's a difference. Okay, so all right, so mint, I could see that.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of mint and leather. Yeah.
Hell-bent on leather.
Hell-bent for leather.
Finish says, when sipped neat, the finish is long and downright elegant with a nice warmth of heavy oak and sweetness.
It is sweet, but we wanted to know what kind of sweet. Come on, Weller. Yeah.
I said creme brulee with a touch of orange zest. I might also go as far as to say like a creamsicle orange push pop.
Okay. I used to get those from the ice cream man as often as possible. Damn, those were so good. That was before I started buying cigarettes from them. All right, nose wowed me, dude. Like right up. I mean, there's.
So this is a 700 milliliter bottle. It's not their 750.
Oh, and we haven't talked bottle presentation.
We have not.
While I'm going over my ratings here, I think yours are already done, aren't they? We haven't talked about bottle presentation.
No.
Did you go over it? And
yeah,
this one has a box. I didn't know they even had boxes. That's totally cool.
The entire Weller line is all based on the exact same labeling and bottle shape. When you get into the 107, I believe the full proof, the
107 has a cork, doesn't it?
107 is cork,
yeah.
and I believe it's natural cork, if I remember correctly. And this is the 700 milliliter bottle, so I don't know if that plays into the fact that it's got the special reserve metal twist off cap. I don't know if the 750 has a actual cork topper on there. I got a great deal on there. I was super stoked that it actually came with the box. And,
yeah, how cool is that?
And yes, so the labels and everything, the design wise is all the same. What I love about it too is if you feel that, it's actually embossed. So this little pinstriping here and there, it's actually embossed. So you and even all of this, the ink and everything is actually raised lettering, but they use color to kind of distinguish all of their different lines. The Special Reserve is a dark forest green color. The Antique 107 is that burgundy color, and the 12-year is a nice black label. So obviously, it's got to be a good bottle.
What all information is on the back of that box? I mean, it says is there a hashtag? Hashtag the one to know.
I'm a huge fan of the Weller W monogram that has the halo of wheat that surrounds it.
That'd make a cool tattoo.
It makes a great sticker on the top of my laptop.
It does. It really does. It'd make a good sticker on the top of my mic case that I came up with. That way everybody knows I'm a big fan of Weller. I think right now it's got into existence, Burn the Gates. There's probably a Jim Beam sticker on there somewhere.
There better be a Savor the Burn sticker on there.
Oh, wait. I said who? Jim Beam. There is definitely a Savor the Burn sticker on there. Faux show.
Why did you get this on the nose?
On the nose, dude, I was blown away on the nose. The first pour, you saw me give myself a little second pour here just because I needed to get it back on the palate and reintroduce myself to it. We'll get to that here in a second. But when I did, I even did another nose right before I did, and that's when I picked up honey. And I thought, that's weird. I didn't pick up honey in the first. Let me go. Maybe I have honey on the brand because I've got honeycomb over here on the floor. And it's just like... Anyway, so I gave it a pour, and right before I sipped it, of course, I gave it a sniff, and it's just blown away every single time. I gave it a perfect 5. First impression, I got that grape ink kind of smell, which, whatever. I'm weird. I got Sugar Creek DNA here, altered DNA because of the big chemical spill. Baking spices, caramel, vanilla, orange zest, oak, butterscotch, and now honey. So I'm stoked. This had more than anything I ever could have asked for. I did not know what to expect. I was actually like, oh no, I'm probably not going to like this as much as the Antique 107. And I really loved that Antique 107. Just because of all the online reviews, everybody saying, oh, it's really not that good. This is that good.
It is.
So that was just on the nose. That was just on the nose. How about you?
I gave 4 3/4.
4 3/4?
4 3/4.
Blasphemy. That's all right. That's all right. You were at least wowed.
I was more
really
than
liked
wowed. Yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm. You even had a second pour.
I had a second
almost
pour.
Immediately.
My palate was a 5.
Your palate was a 5. Mine was 4.75. There was wheat and oak. It was only because I don't know.
4 3/4.
Blasphemy! Off with his head. So. In the beginning on the palate, it was hard for me to kind of sift through what it was that I was tasting. I thought that there was a little bit of a bite on the tongue, and I was like, "Is that a bite? It's not malted rye. Is there rye in this? Is there rye?" And I read the bottle. No, there's no rye. So there was wheat and oak. There's corn and barley. The barley is what was throwing me off because of the grassy note. It was a creamy vanilla, butterscotch, orange zest, mint and leather. It had everything that you could want, and a great flavorful representation of those things.
Let's pause for a second and let's just think on the fact that this is what just did not quite make the grade to be called a Pappy's.
Right.
This dialed up a half notch. If this is indicative, where I'm going with this is, if this is indicative of what Pappy's brings to the table, holy smokes!
Right. Yeah. One day we could really be in for a treat.
It's
on
the list.
We have it is on the want list. It's unpublished, of course. If you have a bottle and you would like to send us samples, please leave us a comment, or actually just slide into our DMs. Whether you know us individually or just slide into the Savor the Burn DMs, or send us an email info@savortheburn.com or w2@savortheburn.com. I'll probably lose it if you send it to me at jonathan@savortheburn.com. But if you want to trust me with it, go for it. I'm just going to send it to him. He's probably going to see it before I do anyway. All that said, back to this finish.
Finish.
Where were you at on the finish?
Another 5.
Another 5. Okay. All right. I kept it locked in at 475. The finish, we found baking spices, oak. It was long and warm. The butterscotch changed into creme brulee. The orange zest turned into the orange push pop, and everything was a great, powerful representation of everything that we had done. It's like everything that we found on the nose and on the palate, it evolved through the tasting process, and it left us with just a wonderful experience all the way through. Bottle presentation, we talked about that.
We did.
I like the bottle. I have zero problems with the bottle. I don't care if it's a metal screw-off cap. I really like black and chrome. It's my favorite color. Black with flames is probably my favorite color, but black and chrome is my second favorite color.
Black
and gold is just, it's slightly under black and chrome. So it's elegant. It's beautiful. It reminds me of my first car, 79 El Camino. It was a Royal Knight El Camino, in which you want to go black and gold. Think of the 78 Black Knight El Camino. It's got a beautiful trim package and decal package, whatever. But anyway, I loved it. Plus, it comes in a box, and some of it's in French. The Statue of Liberty is from France, and everybody loves her. So that's why I gave it a 5.
All right. I do not think that it contributes to anything negative, but it does have that metal cracked top on there. It's if it was a composite stopper, it would have been a 5 all day long.
Okay.
That right there, I went ahead and just gave it 4 3/4.
4 3/4.
Well, so, you could have done a little bit better with such a premium bottle.
Could have.
Why would you not put an actual stopper on there?
Yeah, you really could have.
I mean, nitpicking. All that to say, my final still ended up being 9 3/4.
Yep, that's the exact same score I gave it. That is wild. It's weird how we can take different roads to get to the same destination. Different ideas and the same conclusion.
I'm going to have to do some double checking, but I'm pretty certain this bottle may have, with both of us having a 9 3/4, means our aggregate average score is going to be 9 3/4. I think this may have squeaked into our top 5.
Really? Okay. All right. And where do they find that information?
If you go to savorthebourbon.com, we have a liquor cabinet where everything is kind of categorized out. We do not have our ratings at the top level, but if you click on the individuals and look at each individual ones, we've got the ratings on there. However, if you go over to the About tab and go to About This Podcast,
which is really cool.
That page right there, really cool that page right there actually has our top 10 on there, and it has a drop down so you can actually sort it by all time or 2024 or 2023 by the year. And if I'm not mistaken, the number 5 slot currently is the Jim Beam lineage. Coming in at 9 5/8, 9.625.
Shit! So this just nosed it out.
I don't remember the score on it, but number 4 was Angel's Envy rye finished in the Caribbean rum cask.
Yeah.
That's in the 4th place. So this one may have nudged the Angel's Envy out of 4th, or it just nudged the lineage out.
Wow.
Which that's saying something.
That is saying something. Well, I mean, Jim Beam for me, it's always, it's family related because, we've been drinking it for generations. And, too, it's just like, it's old hat. Like for me, before starting this podcast, I could always depend on the flavor notes of the Jim Beam White Label to be, caramel, a little bit of apple, some citrus, and like some I started with caramel, but I mean, just very few notes, and it was always just kind of, it's everywhere. And I could always depend on it to lighten the mood and get everybody talking and hanging out and, playing a little sloppier, but a lot more creatively, in band practice. But, and so,
I mean, that's a fine line. That is always worth.
Yeah, that bourbon borderline is thin and it's invisible, and it's in different places for everybody.
Because you step over the line, and then you step back for a little bit, and then you step back over.
Yeah. And some people,
you get it,
Stephen, tend to go right over it and don't care. Moist.
And sometimes you just fall right on over, and you just stay on the floor.
Getting anything on the second dose?
Everything.
Honey, oats,
some caramel.
Yeah.
Brown sugar.
Caramel with brown sugar. Yeah.
Maybe some stone fruit. That? Some berries, maybe.
I like berries. Grapes are berries. Bring it all back to the grape.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just grape. So, if you've had this bottle, please let us know what you think. If you have a friend that has this bottle, send this episode to him or her. Send this episode to them and let us know what they think.
If you stuck around through this episode and you've already watched the part 1 of our 100th episode
with the Shanks,
do not miss part 3.
Part 3 is going to be
you're going to want to be there for that one.
I want to be there for that one. I don't even know what the hell we're going to have. He's kept all this a secret from me. I'm okay with that. I'm like, all right, you keep your secrets, silly wizard. So
not a bottle like this.
Whiskey was meant to drink. It was meant to share. So find yourself a fellow bourbon enthusiast and share a little bit with them, just like we do right here on Savor the Burn podcast. So all that to say, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're drinking and who you're drinking it with, never forget.
Keep on burning.